Graffiti. No matter where you look, there is bound to be a piece somewhere, whether it's on a wall, bus, or even on a train. It is everywhere these days. But is this just mindless vandalism, or a piece of controversial art? In this short documentary, we will be exposing people to the real side of graffiti. We started by asking people in Nelson Street in Bristol what were their opinions on graffiti.
Definitely art. Carry on doing it. It's the best thing ever, mate.
Graffiti is art, because it is. It's called street art.
So I'm quite open-minded about it.
We were just saying on our way up, actually, most of it's really good, so we quite like it.
I think it's self-expression at the best, really. Like, you've got to express yourself, so if you want to do it through that, so do it, yeah.
After finding out the opinions of people in Nelson Street, we went to our local college to talk to 2 lecturers to see if they had a different view on graffiti than the general public.
Yes, anything that involves creativity, mark making, responding to the environment as an outlet, as a thing that can enrich the environment is an art form. Yeah.
I consider it to be art in its purest form, really, in its purest form. But I do believe that there's a bastardisation of graffiti, a kind of almost like a glibness that creeps in of somebody calling something graffiti which has been set out to do another job, rather than what the job of graffiti really is, which is kind of get up and scream in its first instance. Hello, I'm here, I'm alive, it's me. And I think when you view graffiti on that level, then I think it's an amazingly wonderful, incredible thing.
Tagging is a big factor in graffiti and is probably considered the more criminal side of it, with people associating it with gangs and violence.
If they put their names, I think that's more they want to do it for themselves than they just want to do it for art.
Because tagging, it's just... That's what I would say is vandalism, because it's just mindless. It doesn't even look good.
No.
Not really, no.
It's quite a fine line.
However, even though it's been given a bad reputation, some people still think that it's a crucial part of graffiti's culture.
They're both equally important. They're the same thing. I don't think you can say that tagging is bad, because it's how artists can't put a new piece up every day. They have to do something to keep their name about, and that's tagging.
We've managed to get an interview with Cheba, a graffiti artist in Nelson Street and a member of the graffiti crew Weapon of Choice.
It depends on the viewer, I suppose. I like tagging. I don't tag myself. I've never really tagged. I had more of a logo than a tag, which was my character's face, which I painted everywhere. And that was kind of my tag in a way. I couldn't say whether I prefer tagging or not. I think tagging's sort of the skeleton to every graffiti artist. Every graffiti artist has a tag and starts out with something like that and then builds on it and kind of works around it and tears it apart. And, so I think it's vitally important.
Stuff like tagging isn't really graffiti, isn't really an art form. It's just a kind of, it's a way of sort of maybe damaging a surface, like a bus stop. And so I think, like anything, there's any kind of art form, there's really poor versions of it that perhaps do more damage than good.
Banksy is a key feature in graffiti culture and is changing people's views on the whole aspect of street art for the good. With his pieces selling for thousands all over the world, Banksy is helping shape the views of skeptics and helping people understand the true meaning of graffiti, and that it is art.
And I think Banksy has changed the perception of what we comfortably call graffiti. And made people think differently about maybe what else exists, and possibly, rather than seeing it as a mess, seeing it as possibly something else. Basically, Banksy has changed the way people perceive graffiti.
I think he's helped a lot more of the average sort of Joe person, a lot of people that weren't into graffiti before. I think he's opened it up to a whole other group of people with the way that he's played the media, and like as soon as he does a piece, email lots of newspapers and that sort of thing, and he gets it much more into the public eye, and he kind of puts an angle on it that anyone can laugh at, anyone can get it, like builders can laugh at it, old women can laugh at it, to little children, everyone can kind of get it, and I think he has pushed it a lot more into the limelight, which has helped a lot of writers to sell their work as well, so I think he's done good things, really.
He's a good vehicle for the media and then for the masses, just like a pop band might be a good vehicle for a certain type of music or a certain type of pop. Whether or not I think he's a good example of graffiti is a different question altogether.
Overall, people's views on graffiti are changing slowly, with communities and local councils embracing this new street art, with projects like Nelson Street helping to improve the visions of graffiti for the better.
See No Evil was an event that the council, Mike Bennett, Inky and us, Weapon of Choice, helped run down on Nelson Street. We had, I think it was about 70 graffiti artists, probably about 60-70% of them from Bristol, and then sort of 30-40% from around the world, sort of Germany, New York, well, all over the place really. So it was really to showcase off Bristol talent really, and to bring people to the city and to inspire people really. It was an idea that Mike Bennett had, who works for Destination Bristol, and his job is to bring people into Bristol basically. And originally he spoke to the council and they kind of just weren't really into it, and he kept trying various ways to win them over, and they weren't having any of it, and he said, right, we need 80 grand basically, and he gave up 40 grand of his own wages, and then the council then matched that, so there was 80 grand, which was what was needed, and then he really believed in the project basically, so he put 40 grand of his own money into the project, which made it all happen basically.
Graffiti, whether you like it or not, is a growing phenomenon and is undoubtedly one of the more exciting aspects of art and culture today.